But we'll see whether they do decide to go for it. Tom Kench is going to be locked in here for Mata.
So let's start thinking about extended benches, and I'm thinking mostly about Ghost and Clid respectively. Clid is Lee Sin only, into Jarvan Olaf, into kind of one-offs, right? A couple of release games, a couple of Nocturne games. Nocturne been way down this week after being kind of almost every game in
Seen a
previous
couple
weeks.
of bans, actually, but that was in our previous series. But otherwise, you're right. Not a lot of picks as the Draven.
They were never going to get Draven. The Draven was gone the moment they didn't take it first round. I think that's acceptable. Maybe the Vayne is coming out in this game. I like Vayne around Ghost Joker's pick because then there's only going to be one pick for SKT to say, oh crap, Vayne, what do we do? So it's something they're thinking about, but it's not something that's actually confirmed to them till later. We'll see if the Vayne actually gets banned by SKT. Action onto Sandbox. You're thinking Clid champions here, right? So Jarvan is the obvious one. So Jarvan gone, Olaf gone. We're getting to the dregs now.
Well, I mean, it's all two ofs, and that's going to be the Rek'Sai, the Elise, the Sejuani, the Xin Zhao.
Well, Rek'Sai has the matchup, right? So I wouldn't mind a Rek'Sai ban. Oh, this is the ban I'm not sure of. Do you ban Vayne?
I think ban it. I don't think that you roll that dice.
Ghost is practicing it in solo queue, so there's merit behind it, and they do ban.
Yeah, I think that's a smart choice. The Lucian will then be gone for by Sandbox, but I think SKT are okay with just outscaling a Lucian.
But, I mean, it's not the Lucian's fault they lost game number one. In fact, he was so big, right?
He was.
In the early game that I don't think Sandbox is too worried about that. Go wipe steal bot lane and still be able to power. Again, you could Jinx, you could a lot of things, but we would definitely understand the Lucian again. They'll take away Kha'Zix, an old pick of Clid's from the LPL days. Interesting. Rek'Sai is going to be taken here, obviously. We already outlined that one.
That's a no-brainer, to be perfectly honest, and I don't know why the Rek'Sai wasn't prioritized first. He hasn't actually played any Kha'Zix so far.
Old pick
it is. It certainly is a Clid pick, however, not this season.
But you just knew Rek'Sai, because, like, why not Rek'Sai here is kind of the thought process. We didn't need to see it locked in to know that. You have the Unburrow into the Lee Sin Q, of course. It's a very famous mechanic.
Not to mention the fact that the Tremor Sense is so incredibly good against Sandbox in the early game, trying to get that vision around the Baron Pit area.
Do you blind Vlad if you're Sandbox? Interesting question to ask.
You can.
You can take Vlad and then just a heavy physical damage dealer and say we've got a lot of max damage.
Vlad Siva, baby.
Aatrox is open and a Summit favorite. I know it's not one that inspires a lot of love from the casters around here, especially if our fellow color caster is on, but we're going to see comfort for Summit in this game. Can turret dive here with the Lee Sin very reliably, which could be an important thing to hasten the game. What the opponent will be, we'll find out, because Fiora's open, and it's Khan.
Yeah, there are a lot of Khan champions that he can pick up here. He's good at Fiora, he's good at Riven.
The Jinx is pretty hype if we do see it. We mentioned that as a hyper carry that's open. It's not really a Kog'Maw spot, so Jinx is going to be the lock-in here for Ghost.
Yeah, I actually feel like Jinx is a fantastic pickup to augment this composition. Already they've got a lot of mid-game threat in the Aatrox, and a lot of shenanigans can actually be caused in the backline.
So now maybe Kennen. If you want to actually kill, you go Kennen. If you want to go for the Fiora, you're playing the side lane. So the crowd gets the more hype choice, but it does mean one less person who's likely to catch up to the Jinx. So this is one I actually would have preferred SKT to think about. You can play out this draft and win, right? Because the laning matchup is so good. But Kennen was open and would have been a bit more threat onto Ghost.
Especially if it was the AP Kennen. I completely understand that one, but I do like SKT deciding to play the finesse style with more of a split push decision, because SKT just do it so well, right? And then you can avoid Jinx's incredible ability to AoE in a team fight, and you can use the Ezreal to his strengths.
And now they throw Ryze top lane, and suddenly the Fiora's in a different spot than it would have preferred. So it's going to be Dove on Aatrox mid. Summit and Dove have pretty overlapping champion balls. They all play the same champs. No Akali this time. The Kennen would have been the respectful choice. It almost feels like they stared so deeply into it. They saw what they wanted to see Atlas, and while it's not necessarily going to be a disaster, the Kennen would have really been able to do a lot of things. Let's see how the Fiora does. I feel like it'll need a bit of help.
Yeah, I think so too. Into the Ryze, not necessarily the matchup that you want to see, but Sandbox have really put themselves together a composition that does bridge very nicely moving further into the game. And we talk about this a lot, but I just love it. I love compositions that can make up for weaknesses in certain points of the game with obvious other things that they can use in order to band-aid it. SKT on the other side will have certainly some very clear win conditions, and also the 4 as far as the 1-4 is going to be strong in the Lissandra Ezreal, who are going to be very slippery.
And does Khan just rock up mid lane? Could happen, right? We've seen a lot of flexible lane assignments, and no guarantee the Faker doesn't find pastures new in the top lane.
Well, we'll see what happens here. Game number 2, Sandbox versus SKT. SKT fans in full voice looking for the 2-0 to create the biggest game gap between themselves and Sandbox. In fact, every single game matters here for this series because getting your game score up when you're so tight is actually a huge deal at creating that buffer. So SKT really want to finish this one out strong.
We can't steal those LEC hashtags, Atlas. Hashtag every game matters is their thing. What our thing is what the Observer was showing, is that we got some interesting keystones here from SKT. So we footwork on Khan, and notice that Clint's gone electrocute onto the Rek'Sai. Ender from the LEC broadcast is one of the biggest Rek'Sai players I know, and I know he's huge on Hail of Blades for even more burst in the early game.
Heard him talking about that one. Makes a lot of sense.
Conqueror's, honestly, it sounds strong. It's a bit trashy as a rune on a lot of champs right now. It was double nerfed since it was reworked, and now I'm not a huge fan of Conqueror most of the time. Teddy and Mata weren't a huge fan of finding Joker and Ghost in lane, but no leash is going to be coming out. It's going to be red buff starts by both junglers.
Yep, high value there from the Guardian for Mata though, so that's going to keep him and Teddy in a pretty good stead. But as you can see, this is what you do as Jinx. You get a very quick level 2 by utilizing Pow Pow.
I'm so happy Jinx is meta.
Yeah,
in other regions, it's being picked a lot. Power picked over other champs, like Kalista, for example, was not seen in the LCS and seen much less in the LEC. See Ghost jumping on to the Jinx here, and you look at the enemy team, which again, we've already probably indexed too much time in talking about Kennen, but only Lissandra can get there and unlikely to reliably get on top of the Jinx, so you do worry that Jinx just kind of hurricanes down a front line that's pretty damn squishy on the side of SKT.
Yeah, and I want to talk about, what SKT's composition does well and what it's actually able to flex into as well. Because I think that what you were talking about with the Fiora in a team fight is actually a very relevant point with how SKT can flex this draft. They don't have to play split push if they don't want to. With the amount of catch that they have with this composition, you get a grand grand challenge down on the opposition. You can blow them up very quickly with single target damage out of the Lissandra. And especially Clit as well, being able to follow up with the Void Rush. So I actually do like it with the fact that you can just guarantee someone dies, and then you get all of that healing.
Again, we usually love seeing SKT on these champions and just lineups that punish scaling. You see Jinx and like, oh, scaling, but honestly, I feel like there's a lot of catch on both sides. His Clit's already out.
Yeah, Dove is already dead as well. That's first blood going down very quickly in the mid lane. Beautiful Rek'Sai play.
They're against a team that can brawl now, but if you brawl better, maybe it doesn't matter where Jinx will go. Really nice gank timing there, and using the Rek'Sai, who just like Shaco, comes over that wall and takes you down early.
Yeah, we're looking for a turret plate here on the bottom side of the map. It is going to be Ghost being able to lock that one down, but you can see Faker, he's now up against OnFleek, and that just shows that this Aatrox is not going to be picking up any of this farm. Scary times here for Sandbox in the early game. This is the other side of SKT who can play fast if they want to.
I love watching SKT play fast and loose in the early game. I think they're right up there with Sandbox, the best early game team in Korea. Griffin only this week. Waking up in the early game, and Dove walked up, and Baker said thank you very much. Turns out melee champions get punished by a W.
Yep, I also think that investing the flash over from Faker is much better than Clid, because now Clid can take that lead elsewhere around the map and still has the flash on Burrow available to really challenge these lanes. I mean, it's scary times.
Faker just waits for a W and then he ease out, and otherwise going to be fine. And now he has a bit of gold to get a nice burst back. Look at this, the Dark Seal and also the Amp Tome. OnFleek's on a walk. Remember, a lot of CC here.
Yep, Summit already doing way too much damage here to Khan. Gets the fleet footwork, but he's down to 100 health. The flash is going to come in. The lunge is going to be there. Riposta's available. Doesn't have to use it.
200 IQ, the problem solving with the minion wave coming in was perfect. Nicely done by Khan. He has always been known for this Fiora pick in solo queues to his re-debut onto Kingzone Dragon X, previously Longzhu. Was able to do good stuff on this pick. Beautifully and expertly done by Khan.
He's going to teleport back to the lane as well and still has a CS advantage. The wave in not exactly the greatest position, but now cleared. Creative gank pods can come in as now he's going to try and spot the Lee Sin. Does find OnFleek there in the jungle. It's level parity. Q lands. But SKT, they know exactly where he is, and Khan is going to be completely fine.
Really nicely done by Khan. Didn't take any mess from the enemy. Thought through the thing and thought through it quickly. Summit actually went for a power buy. He has an entire lost chapter on this back rather than a tier.
Yeah.
The tiers might be on the side of Sandbox, already a game down. And think about this. You slow it down and you're like, how do you get out of this? He does it perfectly here. Really nicely done by Khan. And just finds solace in the minion wave. Look at the Sandbox goes. He's devastated.
Yep, absolutely. You can understand exactly why.
And the genuine glee from no doubt an SKT fan.
And also just Khan fans in general, right? Even if you were a Kingzone fan and you're coming over to SKT now following Khan, you're going to be so happy seeing him play so well over the last few weeks. Because we're just so used to talking this guy up and then being disappointed. To be honest, even when he was slumping on the side of Kingzone, this is just so good to see because we knew that he always had this kind of potential. And Clid, he wastes no time. There's the riposte. Summit is going to get slowed down by the Chilling Smite, and it's just too much damage. The Rek'Sai is doing so much work this early game.
Doesn't matter which domination tree Keystone you go into, Rek'Sai will do the damage. Fiora ain't got none, but no problem. Level 5 Fiora was probably the reason Rise was so far up. That's the pathing a Rek'Sai is possible on, and nicely Clid popping off on a champion not named Lee Sin.
Yep. And it's fantastic to see Khan now with an advantage. Faker with an advantage, and the Rek'Sai able to carry this lead to other lanes so effectively. Ocean Drake, the first one yet again, feels real bad.
Oh, an Inferno though.
Hey, yeah, there we go.
Will that finally be SKT's invitation to fight though? Because they've been very passive around Ocean Drakes. Ocean Drake first spawn, really nice. Specifically Summit, who would love this one. Doesn't have his tier yet. Going to be a late transform, you'd imagine. He's got battle stats that aren't going to be useful. His flash is still up, so he's going to be... This lane spot, by the way, is awful for Rise. He feels terrible about this, but he's going to try and push it quickly. Guess who's here to punish him before he can get the push on?
Well, Flash actually wasn't invested.
I know, but still,
Summit,
he's so far out.
Yeah, can they actually get him locked down? Clid's decided that he's going to get the flash off. Jump on in, gets the flash trade there between the Rek'Sai and the Rise.
And that's when it's worth it, because next time Khan will have a flash advantage in about 2 minutes and an ult to just kill Rise himself. So that's a good time to trade summoners. You called out earlier how Faker flashing instead of Clid was big. Let's talk about bot lane as on Flake. He's going to try and work out his angles.
Yep, Marta's going to have to use the cleanse, uses the Grey Health there as well. It's the kick for the mini stun into the wall. Super Mega Death Rocket comes down, but it's only a 1-for-1 trade. It's even more turret plates, but this is exactly what you were talking about. Grand Challenge is going to be issued. Summit isn't going to go down, keeps himself alive, and the turret is going to stay up as well, as Teddy has a red buff after all of that.
Turret aggro there was important. The Lee Sin couldn't chase further. After the rocket hit, I thought they might chase down a second kill, but turret aggro. Trolling on Flake. They only get Marta through all of it, and Teddy picks up kill credit as well. The kills right now are on the man who set up all the dominoes, and the man who usually just knocks them all off in Teddy in the late game. We're going to watch the replay. Remember, it's 3v2, and they don't out-trade in a big way.
Yeah, Unfleek comes on in, gets himself the high-value kickback onto Teddy, locks him down in place for a long time, but he gets out, and the trade of kills is actually really bad for Sandbox.
We love those SKT listen-ins there. Not too joyous, despite getting a very nice 1-for-1 trade.
But Marta died, and you can see on his face that he was absolutely fine with how that situation went. Khan not so fine with this top lane scenario.
I mean, it's not an ideal matchup to Rise, right? So because of that, things have been a bit helter-skelter on the top side, and Onfleet looking to punish him. Doesn't have kick available on Clid, who's been ahead of the play the entire game. He's rolling up, and right now he'll be unsighted but expected by Sandbox.
Yep, and that's just a minion wave guarantee gank to come in from SKT, so they're still able to actually get a lot of high value. Even stealing away this blue buff is a little bit more than they necessarily needed to. It was already a victory, and then Faker still is able to lock that one down.
Bot lane has been more joyous for Ghost and Joker than we would have assumed. It's been kind of the off-screen action that's happened. It's a, I guess, 1.5 minion wave advantage in the bot lane.
An example of the fact that Clid has been playing top side of the map for SKT rather than bottom side.
Something's got to give somewhere. If they're also losing bot side, then you're like, okay, this is just an out skill on the side of SKT.
And you'd look at the other series that Sandbox won against SKT and wonder how the heck that even happened.
Exactly. So good that there is at least a counterpoint, and Jinx is a great counterpoint that can pop Kettle Black in the late game.
Teddy now has himself the Iceborne Gauntlet fully completed before a tier. This is a very defensive choice.
And what does that tell you? It tells you that my jungler is quite liking the top side of the map, but he doesn't want to have a holiday bot side anytime soon. But could also situationally be for chasing. He even amusingly has the blue buff, so he's going to be there. Yep, it's clearing away on the bot side. Jinx has a one-item power spike. She didn't with item builds before, now that Infinity Edge can be built without being a troll. So you get the right RNG, you get the right chase. Berserker Greaves, BF Sword Pickaxe was always the Jinx build the last time Jinx was meta. And honestly, the last time Jinx was meta was kind of when IE was in its old self.
Yes, and now it's back to that state, so I do like that a lot as well. The extra attack speed that you get from the Q is why it's so much more valuable on the Jinx than other possible choices.
And why you love Jinx buying flat attack speed, so flat attack damage, just a bit of attack speed, is if the enemy ever recalls, you just obliterate turret plates. Turret plates weren't there last time we had a Jinx meta. You can never find any space to leave lane because she just unloads a flurry of damage with all her early game attack speed.
Well, you can see even when it was Teddy and Marta just sitting under the turret, Ghost uses the extra range and just mows it down anyway. Don't even need to find a back timing at all. Tier is done here for Summit. Finally completed for Teddy as well, as Faker is struggling in a lot of these trades against Dove. Finally, an Infernal Chains misses.
2 kills to the good, but how about this, Atlas? You must admit, it is 4 turret plays to the good.
Yeah.
On the side of Sandbox. Still, we do notice 1,000 gold lead, so that's not telling the whole story. CS leads in mid lane is the most pronounced, but worth noting that at least there are counterpoints that Sandbox Gaming aren't rolling over in the early game.
Yep. As this game goes on, so many pings here from Sandbox as Clit and Marta are just a two-man wrecking crew. Frozen Tomb comes down, World Ender's going to be there, but Dove immediately goes down into it. Safeguard has to be used to get on fleek out, as SKT have set themselves up for this Infernal Drake about as beautifully as you like.
They finally see an invitation for a Drake all series. They waited out 4 Ocean Drakes in a cloud. They find an Infernal, it's to their liking. They roamed first as top side.
Yep, Summit is going to Realm Warp his way out. True Shot Barrage is going to fly forward. I don't know what it's looking for, to be perfectly honest. Looking for a backing Dove by the looks of things, but doesn't actually find any joy there from Teddy.
But what I love seeing, Atlas, is how organized SKT are. They identify, ooh, a Drake we'd like to fight for, who roams first, but Teddy leaves the bot lane. Jinx was the only champion of the bot lane quartet or trio, I couldn't really tell how many were there, that wasn't going to be able to make it to the mid lane. They poke around, they get control on the objective, and they take it. So in one fell swoop, around an objective they've shown no priority on all match day, they come down, they take it, they back away, and they feel good about it to SKT.
Yep, all of the turret plates have taken bar 1 on the side of the bottom lane for Sandbox Gaming, so Ghost has a lot of extra money. So it brings even more relevance to the fact that Inside Track was there for Teddy, because as soon as Jinx can't actually get in, that is a big problem, as Arcane Shift not invested to try and get more damage onto Onflick.
And now he's trying to wait to get Ghost, say, 3 kills out of nowhere, right? Maybe team fights are the way you need to go, because he already has IE. He can already get excited. Speaking of get excited.
Yeah, exactly. Ghost
Meanwhile,
is going to be, as Faker just kills. Okay, see you later, Dove. Sorry about that, guys. The big zoom out was there. I was looking at the bottom lane. That wasn't where the excitement was. It was SKT in the mid lane.
Fedrex side is a pretty big problem. Yeah. This champion is unbelievably strong in the early game, and it felt like we sat there with the patch notes and shouted it, and no one was listening. Cleared, took notice, has brought back Rek'Sai in style. Infernal Warrior, no problem. 5.2 AD ratio, if you hit everything, is the number that really I dilate my eyes and get concerned about. Lee Sin also with a 5 AD ratio of his own, but a lot more situational. Yep, more skill shots to hit. Ghost finds a lane to his liking, but now it's mid lane after taking all the turret plates and bomb.
Yeah, and taking the turret there as well, so that is going to mean that Sandbox get themselves some much-needed global gold. But Clid's going to take some much-needed lives that Dove has, because a flash in like that, you layer the CC, and it's all too easy here for Faker.
That was just... Actually, he was overkilled. This is a really weird thing to talk about, but obviously you wanted to press the R button, right? Which we know has a cast time, and you need...
Yeah.
There was still more CC they didn't use, so he actually probably had another 1.5 seconds of overkill CC duration before he was ever going to get to press a button, so he just straight up died.
Yep, couldn't use the ult, couldn't use the flash, couldn't use anything. He was just dead. SKT have moved Teddy and Marta to the mid lane as well. It's going to be Faker pushing in the side lane, and SKT now with their Infernal Drake in hand, we're going to try and put the Jinx down. She's still ahead. 15 CS is going to be that margin. But if Clid gets on top of her now, I don't even think you're going to be able to click on a lantern in time. I think you just die.
And it was teleport Jinx, not cleanse Jinx, to skip over the QSS, so like
Yeah.
you're saying, going to be a required purchase, and they need damage from somewhere. Summit top lane. Remember, this do-si-do with the lane assignments was at the cost of mid lane being a bit all over the place. And Summit hasn't been able to grow a huge CS lead to actually pay off the Aatrox, who's not doing so well.
Yeah. Khan up here towards the top side is just weathering the storm. He's within touching distance of this minion lead that Summit does have, and not too many plates did actually go down in favor of the Rise with that range advantage that we talk about all the time. Ravenous Hydra almost there for Khan as well. He's just soaking up minion waves under this turret as best he can, wanting it to survive for about as long as possible.
And that Weathered Storm should lead to some all-in potential later in the laning phase.
All right.
Bot lane.
Yeah. CC bar not
wait.
going to be utilized there as Dove doesn't get the Infernal Chains. They wait this one out, and this is a see your death moment if ever I've seen one. Void Rush.
Oh.
Okay. They don't wait long enough. Slight misplay there from SKT as now Marta has to eat the Grey Health, but the Flame Chomp, as you can see, are going to stop him from being able to get there. On Fleek, that's a bit of a mistake. As Teddy able to avoid that one. He's waiting for another E. The Arcane Shift would be the end of On Fleek, but Safeguard gets him over to Joker. He's still going for it, but gets himself over the wall, and this took a little bit of a while, but Faker is able to lock that down. The Ignite isn't going to be enough, and Faker survives.
So much action across the maps, LPL style. They were brawling in all three lanes. They're going to push through mid lane. We know how fast the minigun will take down this turret. Teddy has to watch on. Can't clear all the minions with the two-shot barrage, and the win condition is get Ghost in team fight post-haste.
Yep. Teddy needed to have that Arcane Shift available as well. Jinx getting excited as that turret falls down. On Fleek going to be able to take another Shelly Rivers, but Marta has decided that himself and Clear don't want to let this one go down for free. Death Sentence is going to land. Teleport from SKT. They're going aggressive as Marta gets himself the Devour. Shelly is still fighting in this one, but there's the ultimate from Faker. This is what we were talking about. The Jinx just can't click anything because she's dead before she can make a decision. Khan makes his way in. They even get Shelly Rivers. SKT even it up as far as the Shelly count for this matchup. And Sandbox reeling at this stage.
But it was a plot twist, Atlas. We saw the machine gun running. We thought, is this the moment where SKT had been too bold? However, they have the backup. They can call it in, and the super best friends show up, and there's no answer from Sandbox. Dove ambling back to the mid lane after not being able to be involved in the play. So SKT, like you say, still end up with the advantage there, and Jinx goes down for the first time this game.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because that was also a lot of kill gold going over to SKT. 2,000 gold going to be their lead as we check out this replay from a long time ago.
Yep.
Marta going down was an inevitability, but just a bit of a mistake there from On Fleek.
That wasn't even a flash from Teddy. Just straight up got out there. On Fleek wasn't clean enough.
Yeah.
On the kickback. Bot lane. I feel like this play happened 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
But we're going to watch
the charm.
Let's focus on the picture-in-picture as the Drake has been started by SKT, and Sandbox are their second, therefore should miss out.
Yeah, not going to happen. This is Faker calculated, is what you say in the chat afterwards. I think that was a single-digit health bar there for the Lysandra as we check out this fight as well.
Look at how many TPs there are, right?
Yeah.
First comes Lysandra, then comes Fiora. Nothing a little Jinx can do. Eventually going to be swatted down like a fly by the Fiora. Can't kill Summit on the back, but the comms tell you the Naisu is there. It's cold in.
Yep. Herald's taken. Nice. It's going to be your translation. Thank you very much, T-Sun, for giving us the heads up. But I think a lot of people back at home would understand that that's exactly how that one is going to go. Because SKT, they just put everyone into that pit, and this game, they are confident at fighting in this mid-game. 20 minutes is going to tick over. The Baron is going to come out. We've got a Cloud and an Infernal Drake on the side of SKT. Next one going to be the Ocean.
And I have a problem that I need to raise, Atlas. It's that Dove, to kind of get over the fact that it's not an ideal mid lane, went Ignite because of the lane swap between Rise top side. And now you say, you got nowhere to go as this game goes on. You can't match Lysandra in the side lane because she teleports out and you're like, crap, that sucks. And then Fiora already hard counted you. So there is going to be a lot of issues around 0-3-0 Aatrox doing anything, and his summoners are actually kind of the extra pile-on for the enemy, as he's going to be very tricky to get much value of on our screens post-20.
The thing that I find really interesting is the fact that Summit is the Aatrox player, and I think that Move, the player rather than the champion is actually a relevant thing to talk about, just because of how good Summit is at navigating matchups on this Aatrox pickup.
I mean, Dove has a lot of experience on Aatrox, so I think this is just more of, well, we could play it back in the day, let's run it anyway, and there's a reason that mid lane Aatrox has fallen off so heavily.
Yeah. Dove is 1-1 on the pick before this game comes in, as far as LCK stats, but you're right, has played it a lot outside of the LCK. Abyssal Voyage comes in, SKT playing very aggressively here towards the bottom side of the map. Minion Wave not in position for the inner turret on the bottom side. That one is still very neutrally posed.
This feels like if the nameplates are reversed, it'd be one of those SKT drafts people would talk about. But why Rise top lane? We've just gone with the Aatrox. Like, it's one of those things where obviously results-based analysis is not ideal, but you're never going to be a huge fan of Aatrox mid lane with Ignite. Definitely hasn't come together in a big way. All they really have to show is this 2-item Jinx. And she does have Hurricane. She can get going, but they need that first kill. And they probably need to make a play while these teleports are on cooldown, because it's the only time they can outnumber without all of the backup that SKT have invested in.
Well, now Teddy's looking to stack up his second tier, does have himself a Lost Chapter as well. He's actually foregone any of the Vamp Scepter items that you could go for in this place. He just wants to get himself scaling as quickly as possible. I like looking at Teddy's item builds because he varies them a lot. Cleanse used from Marta there as Joker does land another hook as Faker not going to go in on the claw. Dove, good knock up there as Clid burrows his way out of trouble, but he's down to about half health. Joker as well, he's in trouble, uses the cleanse but lands the hook. Teddy threads the needle on the Mystic Shot. The Frozen Thrall is chasing and SKT are following afterwards. This squad is feeling great in this mid-game as Khan's even launching himself forward. Good zap there from Ghost, but doesn't have the rest of his team available, and the Mystic Shots are really starting to hurt from Teddy.
This is actually going to get SKT a big objective that's not immediately clear. They're not going to kill something. They're going to kill all the vision that Sandbox have put down, crucially, just as their teleports are about to come up. And when you have control wards on a Baron and triple teleport available against Ignite Aatrox, honestly, as Sandbox kind of throw up your hands, you're like, I guess we run at something and hope they come to us, because this is definitely going to be map control fully converted by SKT in about a minute and a half's time. We're watching the replay. Joker's been fishing all series, and this man's not catching much. He gets the Lissandra, but it's not enough.
Teddy missed one Mystic Shot throughout that entire passage, and all of the skill shots that he actually hit were in a row. And that's why there is a very dead fresh. And that's why we talk about Ezreal differently here in the LCK, because some of our Ezreal players just seem to have magnets on that particular Q&W ability.
Champion that definitely has powered down in kind of an indirect fashion. We're not even on 9.6, where the double tier build is gone. My feeling is, this was actually discussed by Skara when he was going over some proposed nerfs to Ezreal. I kind of agree with him here. Maybe you just go Ludens as your item in the place, right? You just go Lost Chapter like you did before, and Ludens still procs, right? You can still poke around and be annoying with that, so very interested to see if you get the soul of the 45% CDR. Is that, well, you know.
Oh, man, he's just not having a great time. The World Ender does come in. On Fleek does land an ability, but it just straight up doesn't matter because Abyssal Voyage follows him through. Even the Lickitung going to come out from Marta to slow him down. Flame Chompers do deny any follow-up kill, but the damage has been done. This could just be a Baron for SKT.
The damage is extended. That wasn't even a real teleport. They just got 3 of those, and they got 1 with their fake teleport, the Abyssal Voyage.
Yeah, exactly right. Marta's just so good at knowing exactly where to use that ability on this Tahm Kench. So a lot of different Tahm Kench players as Realm Warp is going to come in from Summit, but SKT have them surrounded. Clid burrows his way out. SKT controlling the battlefield. They didn't like it. They're not going to go for it as Teddy actually Arcane shifts his way into a zap. That's bad news.
So that's 2 teleports used for a defensive position, no more. That's good news for the side of Sandbox, and they have to invest Flash to get that to happen. However, control an Ocean. Not the Drake you want, the Drake you'll have to accept. We could have 2 more spawns in this game. Sandbox walk over, and if they're not spotted by anything, they might try a sneaky Baron. It's not going to happen. SKT get a free Drake. Next spawn will be confirmed very shortly. SKT have now vacated the control that got them the pick, because remember, clearing all the wards around Baron allow that Abyssal Voyage play to be easy, and Sandbox say maybe it's time to run a Baron.
Yeah, this is actually a bit of a problem because Teddy was going for a reset, going to immediately teleport back in. The Baron at about half health as Khan is going to get hit up, and Sandbox not going to risk it. Double hit On the true shot barrage and SKT, they actually want to go for this fight. Teddy very aggressive there as the hook lands onto the blue buff, and now it's SKT that are going to steal that one away and maybe even claim this Baron as well, or at least get complete vision of the area.
Yeah, unlikely they're going to actually start the Baron. Their Baron speed isn't fantastic, so it's better for them to just control the pick and wait for pit and wait for a pick. It's probably the cleanest way to go. SKT put down their control wards, and now Sandbox start to control about a third of the map rather than the usual 50-50s. If this is some french fries being shared, you're not getting a big portion if you're Sandbox. And SKT, they start throwing out skill shots and threatening Sandbox to walk forward.
Yep. And starting the Baron before taking down that ward means they do want to turn. They do want to start a fight here as Joker going to get missed by a few of those autos. As Klid's in trouble, has to flash the Ignite, is ticking down, he goes in to the stasis and holds himself alive for a moment, but only for a moment as Summit is going to finish that one off. Now the Realm Warp is a huge deal. Faker jumps on forward, but they immediately get rid of the Thresh. He goes into his ultimate. Summit unable to finish off the Lissandra, but the Tahm Kench is going to be dead. Can Teddy actually control this battlefield enough as Khan does get the grand challenge, and they should be able to get rid of Summit here. The Lee Sin going to go down as Teddy's on the chase. Ghost just can't get enough damage in these fights.
And Dove can do nothing. He picks up a kill, but that's all he gets, and he's going in!
Oh my god, okay, the W is going to land there. Infernal Chains pulls Teddy back in. Good knock up. Can Dove actually do it? The answer is no, as Teddy finishes him off.
He's got his friend to help him out when he's so aggressive there. New Khan could join, and now speaking of joining, they lease the Baron, and they give it a start.
Yep, Khan does have the Ravenous Hydra. It's going to take a lot for this Baron to actually take down the Fiora's. Teddy also has a little bit of lifesteal in this build with the Vamp Scepter. Ghost is going to come on over as Faker's looking to flank him. They are going to be able to get rid of the Jinx. He's trying to make it onto the land. Does get that True Shot Barrage. Not enough damage as Faker wants to follow. Gets the Q. Max range as Joker immediately cleanses the ultimate, but the damage is done. Double kill for the mid laner of SKT, and they're already killing the Baron.
And Summit just teleports in to see the bad news. On Fleek picks up a cleanup kill onto Faker. They can't play 3 lanes as cleanly, but they got 4 Baron buffs in a dream.
Yep, Faker's happy just to say, all right, that's all right, as he heads back towards the Death Chamber because his work here had been done. SKT, beautiful play here to mop up what looked like a fantastic opportunity for Sandbox.
Some big lungs there, Atlas. There was a lot of action, and it went long because Klid was burning down very early, has to use the defensive stasis. He dies, and you think, is this the moment? Is this the throw? But a lot happens from here, and I want you to watch the end of this fight. Firstly, Teddy ults. They catch them in a CC chain to begin. Faker can self-ult, and you still think the Sandbox are in formation, but they can no longer get easy access to one member. Very easy to disengage. Fiora and Ezreal are nice and slippery, and then Khan just gets the healing field down. Summit's whole health bar is wasted, and Teddy, he's eaten his wheat bix this morning, and he's feeling real aggressive.
Yeah, I was watching Khan during the team fight in live. Didn't watch Teddy just snipe out the Lee Sin. That last Mystic Shot would have probably killed Ghost as well. That was a very, very close double kill available for Teddy. His Ezreal is so damn good.
And at this moment, you know that teleport's up, and you're happy because you actually get a flank onto Ghost. He teleports in, trying to deal with some of the issues. Almost gets away, but not on this day. The Claw was armed as in the mid lane.
All right, see you later, Jinx. That's the Void Rush. That's why the Rek'Sai is so incredibly strong. He's even able to get out with the GA available. The double kill on the bottom side of the map. SKT, they don't want just a Baron. They want the entire base of Sandbox as well.
They're ready to go home. They're tripling the kills. They're trying to end it around 30. SKT take down that mid lane inhibitor. Can they get any more? Right now, the minion wave suggests no.
Yeah, well, I mean, Khan has prepared the bottom sides. True. He's going to move this one in. SKT move on over as well. Still 20 seconds on Ghost.
Yeah, they might as well keep going.
Exactly right. That is definitely another dead inhibitor. Inner turret still available on the top side of the map, so SKT, they take exactly what they want. Maybe even Nexus turrets now as well, as Teddy is just trying to get some pot shots with these. Oh my god, Dove! He takes way too much damage. World Ender has to be used. The Claw may be a little bit premature from Faker, as they're not going to be diving these turrets, they're just going to be murdering them.
They still got the Baron buff another minute, so they keep going.
Yeah, Teddy can't miss a skill shot right here, as Joker's just going to get wiped out. Summit in trouble. Faker self-salt to just create all of the control of this area. Teddy didn't want to be devoured right there, he just wanted to kill the members of Sandbox. Dove goes down. Not enough stasis for you, my friend, I'm sorry. As he's looking to try and get rid of Summit, but Ghost is available. Some low health bars on SKT's side, but Teddy's just too big. Double kill comes in.
No one's dying!
I know, right? Khan's able to get out. That's the triple kill. Could it be the Quadra? I don't think so, because the Nexus is going to die too fast. Teddy is gigantic and locks it down for SKT.
What an insane end. We knew SKT would win when they got that last Baron, but the fact that they kept going and goes to full health, couldn't stop the game ending around 30 minutes is insane. They're going in and out with low health bars, with cooldowns, like Repose being communicated to a millisecond. SK Telecom T1 had a goal this week. They saw Griffin come back ferociously yesterday, and they say, can we do it better? You look over this series, and it might not be quite as one note as the domination, but given the opponent, you look at SKT and say, hats off. You guys are second, and you're right up there with Griffin.
Yep, and I'm also really excited to see the VOD reviews from this particular series as well, because you can just focus on one player from SKT and dissect exactly how beautifully they played it. I think Teddy's probably going to get the MVP for game number 2 as well, but I think Faker deserves gigantic props for how he played alongside Clid in that early game.
This was a Clid masterclass. This guy looked at top and mid lane and
yeah,
just dominated.
There's so many great performances though here on SKT's side.
I think our voters will be, lusting
hard
after
pressed,
the last seconds there and just go after Teddy, but I'm all about Clid this game. He had an awesome game. He got a lot of MVPs at the start of the season, so maybe we have to share it around, but you know what? When you're kind of falling over to praise everybody on the side of SKT, it lets you know they all played their role. Mata and Faker, the most understated in this series, but they did their role. The turn to take down the pincers after Clid went down was so critical to even continue to trade up, and it just felt like every time, if this was the boxing magic, every time it was a pretty good jab, it was a pretty good hook from Sandbox. Somehow a knockout punch was always around the corner from SKT, even when they were just holding their hands down or even just like playing around with their knuckles. They still had some way to rise up and get that jab in.
Yeah, exactly right. And Teddy playing out his Ezreal really, really nicely. Some of those team fights are just reminding me that some Ezreals look very different, and when you hit all of your skill shots, he's just a champion that does way too much damage.
It was just a pleasure to watch because this was not a low-quality series,
oh,
right?
Hell no.
We have our second and third place team playing, and Sandbox were the second best team, but they were not bad. They just were not good enough to take down SKT in this form, and it is revenge, right? They get their revenge on Sandbox after going down 2-1 in what feels like a long time ago. Teddy is so brazenly frontlining on the Ezreal, and he does it with aplomb. This was Rek'Sai coming through. Ain't no disengaging Rek'Sai on these patches. Clid finally makes Rek'Sai look unbalanced, and I appreciate that given so many balanced Rek'Sai games in LCK so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Kingzone game yesterday was certainly another example of some strong Rek'Sai play, but you're right, I mean, didn't have a positive win rate.
No.
Still doesn't, I don't think, after this one, although it is getting closer. We're watching Teddy just shooting fish in a barrel, but this was honestly the point where the game was over and SKT were playing with their food. OnFleet gets himself into stasis, but he's unable to actually get any kills. As Nexus turrets go down, the Nexus could have been the option, but Teddy wanted to get himself a triple kill before he gets the 50 gold out of the Nexus.
And now your conundrum, it finally feels like SKT is growing into the Dream Team title, because we got so seduced in Kesper Cup by the Dream game, where they got 15 turret plays and just took it down. And then SKT, bad to see, they lost to Damwon Gaming 2 out of 3 times. They had a lot of issues. They had some drafts that weren't great. And you're like, okay, not as good as the sum of their parts. But now, you're at that point where you're like, okay, well, you can't really ban out Khan. He plays those counter pick carries. Teddy's an 80 carry. Faker is able to show up on carries in the second half of the season. And your last member was to look at Clid and be like, what about after Lee Sin and J4? He plays only those 2 champions.
Yeah. Now
the Rek'Sai's there. The Elisa Nocturne can be dusted off. Suddenly, you're short about 20 bans, and that's a pretty good sign for SKT. Because when the best of 5s come out, you got some deep benches of talent to draw from on just a cavalcade of champions.
And then you've also got so much experience behind them as well in Coma and Zephyr, and if you're sending SKT to a tournament like MSI, damn, I mean, Coma himself has been to almost all of them and has won as many as you like as well. I mean, 2015 was the first one that I saw, and it was very, very close to SKT winning that one. Oh my goodness, this team is very, very strong. Still Griffin to contend with. Griffin did 2-0 this squad, but if this is the SKT that's going to be in the finals gauntlet, Griffin is going to be sweating thinking about how to take on that particular challenge.
And if this was a redemption arc, you know, trying to pay back an opponent that failed you, this would have to lead in some sort of hug afterwards, because it just wasn't close in the second half, right? It was just SKT showing how much they've learned over the course of, I believe, I want to say 12 best of threes, 12, 11, 13, somewhere around there. Because the Sandbox game was nice and early in the season, and the Sandbox just were far second best in this game. Redemption arc almost complete. I don't think SKT fans will be happy with anything other than first place. Maybe you can explain to them a loss to Griffin, but if we get that SKT versus Griffin final, if Griffin keep playing like they did yesterday, and SKT can keep up this form, we might have one of the best of fives of all time incoming.
Yeah, and we know that Griffin are fantastic at delivering us fantastic best of fives. They gave us so many of them in their failed attempt to get towards Worlds at the end of 2018.
And how many games they always go out.
Exactly.
It's always that full 5, and I'll take 5 games in the Jamshil Indoor Stadium. It was just announced that we will be in the Jamshil Indoor Stadium for the first ever Riot LCK final, LCK Spring 2019. That is, of course, a venue where there was a very famous 5-game final. The last final there was the Rocks Tigers versus KT Rolster. It was summer 2016. It went 0-5, 2 HP later. Scores team went down, and the Rocks Tigers picked up their only triumph.
Yep, shout out to Dora Monte Cristo as well. I believe that was their last final.
It was our last TriCast, so
yeah.
A lot of blasts there, and what will we pick up when we get to that building? I hope we pick up some action in 5 games. You can never ask for more.
Yeah, I actually don't mind which team it's going to be. So far, our teams in playoff contention so far can deliver some pretty electrifying best-of-5 series.
What a story it'll be if it was Dam1 or Kingzone, right? What a run they would have to make to get there. So it almost feels like we're guaranteed a showpiece final.
Yep, precisely. And as this game draws to a close in these highlights, SKT pose themselves as the biggest question for a lot of these squads. Griffin have shown to be fallible. The Gen.G and the Afrika losses are going to put a lot of doubt into a lot of people, and I know there are a lot of power rankings that now have SKT ahead of them as far as world rankings. And you can see exactly why. I mean, the Ezreal's still doing a lot of damage, but this is a team effort from SKT. The weaknesses are looking few and far between.
Gonna be honest, kind of want to fast forward to the playoffs now.
Yeah,
I want to see the best of threes and the best of fives.
I'm getting that feeling like we got after the SKT Griffin series, where I just want to watch that.
Because, you know, the regular season is about working out the 5. We know 4 of them already. I'm getting greedy. I'm like, you know, it's probably going to be Dam1.
Yep.
It's probably going to be super hype. We're ready to go. Remember also the Sandbox goes down to 4th. So currently, if the season ended today, it's Sandbox versus Dam1 Gaming in a best of 3. Winner plays Kingzone.
Yep, and then that's a huge best-of-5 series as well. As Kingzone have looked terrifying, it's going to be Faker that picks up the MVP, and I was shouting him out. I thought that he had some fantastic engages, but I can understand a quizzical look there from you, Papa Smithy.
He would have been 3rd place or 4th place in my tier list for this particular game, but we get to talk to the great man himself. So, you know what? At the end of the day, if we get to chat to Faker, sometimes he talks a big game, and we always appreciate that. His play will back it up eventually, and it was a really nice turn that kind of guaranteed this win.
Yeah, this was the flanking play from Faker that was actually really, really beautiful, and then him going in a later team fight was actually one of the moments that won SKT the game after Glid got just basically knocked out for free. What
is going on in this infomercial here?
So much stuff.
This is like a business card, but really big.
Yeah, it looks like one of those
Call the number,
promotional things that's on my front door.
That was, of course, the date that he debuted.
Ah, yes.
So it's a 6-year anniversary of Faker was on the 23rd of March. It is right now. Is it the 23rd of March today? Oh, it might actually be.
It is.
It's the 22nd. So we're 1 day short of the exact 6-year anniversary of Faker. Shout out to you.
Yeah, and SKT not going to be playing tomorrow. So not going to be able to celebrate it with him, so thankfully going to be celebrating it here today. And speaking of celebrating that, let's throw it to Ji-san for some MVP interview translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Ji-san with interview translation, and we're going to be joined by Teddy and Faker from SK Telecom, picking up 2-0 victory against Sandbox Gaming. This was definitely the most decisive game to determine the 2nd place. How do you feel about today's victory? How was today's game? I'm really happy with the 2-0. I'm really happy that we won. What about you, Faker? I think you performed really well. How do you feel? A lot of fans are out here to celebrate my 6-year anniversary, so I was a bit worried. What if I won't be able to pick up any MVPs? But happy that I'm here for the MVP interview. So, speaking of games, game 1, it wasn't really easy game. So how did you turn the game around? Yeah, we were a bit shaky, but I was able to scale enough. So Mara actually said that if Saya gets enough items, we will be able to win the game. So we were just wanting to slow down and cope with the problems. So speaking of game 1, we were fully concentrating on my scaling. So I just picked up all the jungle camps, so I was able to pull that off. And SK Telecom, there was this team fight in mid lane that turned the game around. So we're waiting for the replay to be ready. So what was going on here? Actually, we thought that Sandbox was fighting well. Faker, you over here? I'm sorry. Never mind. I mean, this was a very long, extended team fight. So what was going on exactly? Yeah, this could have been a very risky team fight, but I see Garly charging his W, so I knew that he's gonna flash his taunt me, so I was able to pull my reaction with my ultimate. Did you feel any pressure about it? No, I didn't care. Game 2, it was all about you, Faker. You're Lissandra. You're on 8 wins and 1 loss. And also Lissandra is one of the OPs in the current meta, so what are your thoughts about the champion? It's no fun. I've been playing it too many games. But however, whenever I play Lissandra, my teammates, whenever my teammates are trolling, I'm able to carry them, so I think it's a good pick. Why is your Lissandra has such a high win rate? Because I'm good at it. That's the answer, you're good at it. So in game 2, your teamwork with Plate was really outstanding. And Rek'Sai actually had the electrocute rune, so was that a better rune for him? Well, I actually found that out after game that he used that rune, so... Well, I mean, I was so good at following his gank, so even though he went with Airy, we will be able to win the game. You were absorbing so much damage and aggro, and you were surviving with such a low health, though. Let's go through some replays here. This is the skirmish in the bot lane. I mean, it took quite a long time to take down Dove. Well, I actually didn't expect me to go that low, and I didn't really expect me to go near dying, but actually Aatrox, the damage was really strong. Over here, well, I actually could have died there, but I think just Rise let me survive and get out of there. So do you calculate everything whenever you do that kind of plays? Well, I mean, I can't just play like I'm just gonna die there, you know? I try not to die as much as possible, so but there are some times that I am able to kind of survive with very low health. Do you feel any pressure going into some team fights? Not really. I've been playing as a pro gamer for a long time, so I don't feel much pressure in games. Just as you mentioned, tomorrow will be your 6th-year anniversary of your debut, so any message for your fans? Yeah, I saw a lot of fans out here to support me, and I was able to pick up the MVP. So thanks to you, my fans, and also by taking down Sandbox today, we are now in the high chances of going to the playoffs in the second place. So we're gonna just make sure to reach up to the finals.
응원 부탁드리고요. 테디 선수도 오늘 정말 멋진 모습 보여주셨는데 이제 다음 경기, 다음 경기도 정말 중요합니다.
There are still some games left to secure your spot in the second place.
오늘만큼 플레이하고 싶고
I just want to play as I did today.
올리면 좋을 것 같습니다. 화이팅 하겠습니다.
And I just want to maybe get rid of some mistakes.
기대하겠습니다. 페이커 선수도 앞으로 경기에 대해서
Faker.
각오가 있으실 것 같아요.
How we're going to prepare your upcoming matches.
이제 샌드박스전은 이겼는데
Well, we did take down Sandbox,
두 경기 잘
but we
치러가지고
still have 2 games left.
스프링 시즌 잘
So I just want to pick up good results, and I just
네,
want to
여러분
end
다시
the
한번
spring
테디
split
선수,
with
페이커 선수에게 큰
satisfying
박수
results.
부탁드립니다.
Thank you.
오늘 인터뷰 감사합니다.
Thank you very much for this interview,
네,
and I'm going to
SKT
pass it back to our
이대영
casters.
함께
Thank you.
준비사 연결할게요.
Thank you so much, Ji-sun, for your interview translation. Great to hear from both Teddy and Faker. Faker, so incredibly confident these days, Papa Smithy.
He's very jovial too, because while they have 2 games left, Jinair are freaking. So should be 2 easy wins. So you got to say, they had the chance to control their own destiny. They beat their fellow team aspiring for top 2, and thus SKT are runaway favorites to finish second. And remember, in the LCK, it's not like other regions. You don't play off like the LEC first versus second. No, you're guaranteed in the semifinals. So you're guaranteed to be at minimum top 3 at this point. It's pretty good when it comes to SKT. So SKT feeling good about their spot. They'll be playing in the best of 5 stages unless there's a precipitous collapse that we can't see coming. They're turning on when they need to. Kingzone, SKT. They're the teams that have been the big movers recently. And Griffin had a nice performance yesterday, but I want to see more from Griffin before I have a full opinion on if they're truly back.
Yeah, exactly right. And now they're only 1 win ahead of SKT. Still not played as many games as SKT has. They're going to be playing tomorrow up against Damwon Gaming, which is going to be a huge one for Damwon's position in the standings as well. They're wanting to get some wins towards Sandbox.
If Griffin win by any score, I believe they're guaranteed first because they would move to plus 22. From there, they could only move down to plus 18. SKT could rise to plus 18, but the tiebreaker
They only
would go
have
to Griffin.
2 more matches to go.
But the tiebreaker will be broken by Griffin because they have 2-0 head-to-head. So Griffin by any score, guarantee first. It seems like a foregone conclusion. They get a lot of chances to do so, but that's the bookkeeping you need to know. Speaking of which, that could be tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly right. It is going to be LS and Valdez that are going to bring you Jinair versus KT. Spoiler, huge one. For the bottom side of the standings, KT need to win that game if they stand any hope in getting out of relegation zone. Griffin versus Damwon afterwards is the hype matchup. And this will be the real test to see if Griffin have officially bounced back and whether or not Sword has shored up his problems on the top side. Because whether it's Flame or Noggery, both of them have been formidable.
Who do you play?
I'd play Flame just because you can guarantee that you do have that extra experience, and Damwon do play very well when they're controlled.
Red side Noggery, though, is my kind of temptation.
Yeah, that's true.
If anyone's going to use red side, Noggery and Showmaker, I think is the duo you want, but you'd understand both, and I'm just always interested in the mindset of Damwon, because we know they've got a lot of useful tools, but sometimes they trip up on the execution.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they are going to be able to do still. A whole lot more to go here in week number 9. We've got Saturday and Sunday's matches of the LCK. We are going to say goodbye to Papa Smith.